Hi, my name is Jesse Durham, and we're going to have another installment of our quote series where we look at a famous quote and consider how that interacts with the infinite banking concept. Today's quote is going to be one that's been very sensationalized, but one that has a very vast history. So the quote itself is that the borrower is slave or servant to the lender. Now, that's been very sensationalized by financial entertainers, but it is a truth. So I hope that the quote itself will not, when we hear it, because some of us have heard it in different contexts, I hope that it will not cause us to overlook the truth that is in that statement. Now, for those of us that are actively participating, practicing with the infinite banking concept, we own policies, we pay premiums for these policies that we own, we access the cash value in those policies for our need for finance, whatever that may be, in our household, in our business, in our investing, and we recapture the money and we just grow that and we scale that and we have fun along the way. So in recognizing that, obviously we've taken big strides. I mean, I got a saying that I've heard, and I appreciate the gentleman that said it, and it's always stuck out with me. He says, it's all conversation until somebody writes a check. So for the clients that are already practicing the infinite banking concept, we've already made huge strides just by getting a first policy, let alone, those of you and me that have multiple policies that have been doing this for some years now. We've made huge strides in taking ownership of the banking function in our lives, in our business, in our household, etc. And that's fantastic. For those that are vetting the idea of the infinite banking concept and would perhaps want to know how the thinking behind R. Nelson Nash's book, Becoming Your Own Banker, could couple with a principle such as the borrower is servant to the lender, well, let's look at the players. Okay, the roles in that scenario, and this actually comes from Nash as well. He had some quote where he would say, it's good to know who the players are in the play, what role people are playing. Well, if I'm actively practicing the infinite banking concept and I borrow, it should be from my privatized banking system that I own and control, and I tend to be very favorable to myself. Act very favorable to myself. So I would be the borrower of what is mine to borrow. I would also be the lender. So sure, does that put a lot of impetus, responsibility on me? Yes, but I don't wish to abdicate that either. There will be things that I've learned that you will learn through experience that you can't otherwise learn. And yet I still hope that this quote and us looking at it will be helpful in your thinking. Again, I believe that it's our thinking, and Nash promoted that in his work. The Bible, where this particular quote comes from, also considers very much about how we think. Our thinking is going to play the biggest role in this scenario, in looking at borrowing, lending, who is performing the banking function in our life, and how we think about that will determine our results. If I am prepared, mentally and practically to be both the borrower and the lender, then, well, it's easy for me to work with myself. I like myself. Whereas, otherwise, we would be beholden to some third-party lender, some commercial bank, who we're not co-owners with. We don't own that entity. We don't control that entity. We don't earn from that entity, the dividends and the profits from that organization. We do not dictate the terms and the conditions wherein we would like to finance our needs in life and in business. Whereas with the infinite banking concept, we are the borrower, we are the lender. We're all one. If you haven't had one yet, we're all one unsavory interaction with commercial banks, away from just having a bad taste in our mouth and wanting things to be differently. And I do think that it's those folks, such as myself, that have had those experiences before, perhaps, that value the infinite banking concept that much greater. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this saying that the borrower is servant to the lender. I'd love to see what other suggestions you may have for quotes that you would like us to look at, some that you may live by. So let me know in the comments to have a conversation about how this idea of becoming your own banker could be applied in your household, in your business. You can reach us at 828-817-4223 or email DurhamTalents@gmail.com. Have a great day.